co-host Karen Wave.
Hi, everybody.
And we're here also with Amie Valpone. She's the Healthy Apple, and we're going to be talking about good snacks on the run. And Amy's a chef and a nutritionist, and she's got some great ideas for us. You know, with the summer, it's really hard to get good things into our kids. So Amy's going to give us some tips. But before I start, I want a little housekeeping for us. Anybody who's on watching us live, please tweet or send a little Facebook message that you're watching us. Give us a little bit of love. And if you have any comments or questions, please go ahead and post them in the comments below the video on Green Sisterhood. Karen will be checking later towards the end to see if there's any questions or comments that you want us to share with Amie. So Amie, you're on the spot now. Amie, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started in being a nutritionist and a chef, because you have an interesting story.
Sure. So I was working in corporate America for years and, living in Manhattan, and I ended up getting really sick and actually had C. diff colitis, and they found heavy metal accumulation, and then it ended up just finding out, I guess, like a month and a half ago that it was Lyme's disease. And the past 10 years, I have been misdiagnosed with pretty much everything under the sun, and it was Lyme's disease.
Wait a minute. You mean you thought you had celiac, but it turned out to be Lyme?
Oh
or
no,
you had both?
I have gluten intolerance. Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, but Lyme's.
Just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah, no, Lyme's was the cause of pretty much everything, and I never got bit by a tick, and never had a rash or anything or bullseye, and all the labs came back negative, and I didn't know, of course, because we don't know with the medical professions that different labs pick up different things, so. It was pretty crazy. So but it's actually happy to know that I started treatment and I feel a lot better already. And it's just kind of crazy that the past 10 years I've been to the best doctors in the country in Mayo Clinic, and everybody missed it. So it's actually a bigger epidemic than I thought. But it has so much to do with the gut and the stomach and food allergies and food intolerances and leaky gut, which leads to gluten and dairy and soy and all these intolerances, and everyone being sick and not knowing what to eat, and then wondering, why they're always bloated, or why, what's going on with their stomach, and why probiotics aren't helping, or why these regular doctors are trying to give them, all these drugs, antibiotics to cure it, but really it's just killing off their good bacteria. So, I was just for years not knowing what to do and who to turn to, and kept hearing so many different stories, and so I decided to go back to school, get my degree in integrative medicine, and to learn, how to heal myself, because the doctors were not helping. And I pretty much discovered everything, through reading and researching and finding more of the best doctors, and really coming down to it. And a lot of it came down to food. About 99% of it comes down to your food. Knowing where your food comes from and all of that, which I never ever paid attention to. I never ate organic because I didn't really understand the importance of it. And now it's kind of crazy when you think about, pesticides on vegetables and fruits and things like that. I just thought, organic was for wealthy people because they could afford it. And now I realize that it's really like, spraying, toxic. It's like spraying, Celiac bleach onto your cucumbers, and then you're feeding it to your kids, even if you wash it. So once I started to realize it and think like that, I was like, oh my God, no wonder I'm so sick.
So has your eating changed since your recent diagnosis with Lyme? Are you changing your regimen at all?
No, because I eat 100% organic. I eat no dairy, no gluten, no soy. Everything bothers me because I had leaky gut. So
do they think that leaky gut was caused by Lyme, or
yeah? So Lyme starts to attack everything. It attacked my thyroid 3 years ago and gave me hypothyroidism. It attacked my gut. It kind of just goes, your liver, it kind of just goes and keeps attacking things silently. So it looks like you have all these problems, that's why it's called like the hidden silent, you have all this inflammation in your body, and then no one can really figure out. But I, felt fine. I never had any bad symptoms or anything. So it was kind of crazy.
But why did you try to find out what else was the cause? Because normally you would say, okay, I have all these gut problems, so it's my celiac. You've been diagnosed, and then like people just say, okay, I just won't eat gluten. But like, what made you go and search more?
Yeah, well, I researched and read about biofilm, And biofilm is what forms in some people around the intestines and in your stomach. And it's like a film, kind of like when you go to like a river or a lake, you see like that murky film. It happens in like probably 75% of people, and people just don't know it. They think they have just like a stomach ache, or they just get bloated after they eat, and it's called biofilm, and it's bacteria that gets trapped in there. And my Lyme disease was trapped in my biofilm.
Wow.
And I started researching it, and I found all these other people that had the same thing, and I was like, that's weird. Maybe I should get tested by this lab that tests for Lyme disease that you have to pay out of pocket like $1,000, and of course it was positive. And all the other labs are still negative for Lyme.
Now, you're eating healthy, so imagine all those people who are not eating healthy and what's doing to them.
Well, that's what's so scary. I cannot eat anything out of a box, a can, any of that kind of stuff. But it got me really to think, like, how to feed kids and how to feed, people who really aren't feeling well or just want to eat healthier and healthy snacks and healthy ideas, whether you're traveling or, you're at home and you're working from home or you're at a corporate office, and you need healthy ideas and healthy ways to kind of keep your energy up and to feel good every day, because that's, what's the point of, going to a doctor and getting medicine that's really going to not make you feel so good, in the long run, and really stick with healthy food.
So let's talk about healthy snacks.
Yeah, Amie, one of the questions I have, I know we weren't supposed to be talking about Lyme, but I just had a really quick question before we go on, and then I want to ask you about some healthy snacks. You talked about all these incidents that happen to you, like your gluten and dairy and soy-free. Once you get healed, do you think you can go back on that, or you think it's pretty much destroyed?
Well, for gluten intolerance, it depends if people have the intolerance. If you have celiac disease, you definitely cannot go back on it. And if you have like a lactose intolerance, your body can't digest it, you may not be able to. But once you heal your leaky gut, if it's just an intolerance, you may be able to go back and have it. A lot of the families I work with up here, the kids were never able to eat. I mean, they could barely eat anything, besides like protein and vegetables. And they pretty much healed their guts, and now they can, they don't eat junk and crap, but they can definitely, they have all the grains, they can have dairy, they just eat very good quality, all organic, all of that.
So walk us through a typical family when you walk in and you have a family that's under stress, like they don't eat well, they have pains, they don't understand what's going on. Tell us what you would do to help them. Give us like a walkthrough.
So we just start with the source. I mean, everybody thinks, brown-looking bread is healthy because it's brown, but really it could be just dyed with molasses. So they don't realize, look at the ingredients and make sure there's really whole grains in it. And, everyone's eating chicken, but no one realizes that conventional chicken is one of the worst things that you can put in your body and leads to all these stomach problems because it's filled with growth hormones and antibiotics and all these things that end up making you sick in 30 years or 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, 5 months, and lead to all these other problems, in your body, and no one really realizes it. And I didn't. I mean, I was like, why would I want to buy organic chicken? It's like 10 times the price. It's ridiculous. And I honestly never looked at it. And goes the same for like my household cleaners. I was always like, why are people buying like organic cleaning supplies? And why is there an organic cleaner down the street from me in Manhattan? Is it just to save the environment? And now I'm like, oh my God, like now I realize, because all these chemicals are what's making us all sick. And like everything that's attacking everyone's thyroid or their guts or their liver and, leading to whether it's cancer or whatever it may be. I mean, it could even be you're getting sinus infections every year and you don't know why, and the doctor just keeps giving you more pills. So it's amazing to just kind of like step back and look at everything. At least that's what I learned. And then to really focus on food and where your food's coming from. The Dirty Dozen, the dirtiest fruits and vegetables that are out there. And using those in your snacks and your meals, and then, always sticking with, if you can eat dairy, always eating organic dairy, which goes for yogurt and cheese and ice cream. And, I mean, it's amazing what dairy's even in, protein bars or, little snacks, different things that you don't even think of. So, it's kind of scary to think, what these companies are putting in everything we're eating, and that's why there's so many great companies out there that are doing wonderful things. They're non-GMO and organic. Organic Valley is wonderful, and Annie's Snacks is another great company. There's so many wonderful brands out there that are really just doing great things and trying to make this movement to get people to realize what's in their food and why everyone's getting so sick.
Okay, well, I'm a mom. Let's say why I'm a mom. Yes, that is the truth. I'm a mom, and I'm saying to myself, Amie, this is great. I get you, but I don't have time. So give me some quick ideas of some great snacks that I could throw in the car with my kids so I don't
Hmm.
have to run up to Burger King or Wendy's and buy them a chili or, a McMac or whatever because they're
Right.
starving. So give me some ideas of, and then, I know there's also they're still processed, the ones, even the Annies and the Organic Valleys. What about like I can make it at home and it's really simple. So give me some ideas of what you would coach a family about that.
Yeah, I mean, some other great, non-GMO brands. You've got like Lundberg Farms organic rice. They're wonderful. I mean, you could do something, make yourself some kind of, rice or quinoa. Keep it in the fridge. Make it on a Sunday night. Keep it in the fridge for the entire week, and then have that, with your porridge for breakfast, and put it into, a whole grain wrap for lunch for the kids, and then put it into a stir fry for dinner, and add a little almond milk and make it a rice pudding for dessert. So cooking once and eating a million times, but really focusing on one ingredient foods like organic egg and organic apple, nut butter, whether it's almond butter, cashew butter, whatever, sunflower seed butter. I know there's a lot of parents that can have nuts in schools and camps. So, different things like that. Dried fruit is wonderful. Peeled Snacks makes great little dried fruit packets, and they're so cute. They make great little things for kids that they love. So I serve that to a lot of my clients. It really, I mean, it's pretty much as long as you're sticking with your one ingredient foods and making sure they're coming from the best quality, you can do whatever you want. I mean, if you want to eat, as a snack in the late afternoon, if you want to have, some cashews with like a few pieces of dried fruit, or if you want to have, an avocado with some quinoa, there's snacks don't have to be crackers and cheese. It can be anything that makes you feel good. And as long as it's, a lean protein and you're getting those healthy fats, which are so important for all of us. And that's one of the things, so many of these moms I work with are like, oh, fat-free this, fat-free that, I can't have fat, I don't want to
Right.
gain weight. And I'm like, you're going to end up getting sick in like 10, 20 years because your body needs fat to function. I mean, I'm not telling you to go out and eat like a Big Mac, but like you need healthy fats, like, or things are just not going to start working in a few
So,
years.
so
So
Amy, what kind of ratio is that, would you say to your clients? Like how much percentage of fat should you have in your diet?
well, I don't really get into that, unless I'm actually working with someone because every family is so specific and it all depends on their nutritional needs, and everyone needs to kind of go and make sure, according to your blood work and everything that you've got going on, your inflammation markers and all that, which is what I learned too because, dealing with Western medicine, no one ever told me anything about inflammation. And I had all this inflammation in my body and I had no idea.
What does that
um,
mean, inflammation markers?
So, it's integrated medicine testing, your C-reactive proteins and things that are causing internal inflammation that you can't see. So when you get acne or you get a rash, that's inflammation. But people just go to the doctor and they get this chemical ointment and they put it on to make it go away. It's like a Band-Aid. But no one ever thinks why. Like, why does my kid have a rash? Why am I, swollen? Why are my knees swollen, or why are my joints swollen, or, why am I not feeling right? And that's all. There's a reason for there's inflammation. So there's, blood work that shows, and that you have hidden inflammation.
A lot of
So it's,
autoimmune diseases are caused by inflammation as well, and that's how
yeah.
your body attacks, foreign bodies. So it is important that you evaluate what is causing, because everybody's different. So maybe you can have this amount of, fat, or this amount of, certain sugar. Like I know sugar is bad for everybody, but some people can't tolerate sugar for one reason or another, and it really
Exactly.
does. Yeah, and red meat is also inflammatory.
Very inflammatory.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's true. Like
No,
some
it's
So
very
what
true.
kind of what
very
kind of doctors do you go
individualized.
to? So what kind of doctors do you go to get this type of testing?
They're medical doctors. They're all MDs, but they focus on integrative medicine. So it's, healing the body, figuring out what's going on with your body. If you have high cholesterol and you walk into your doctor's office and he hands you Lipitor and says, go get this prescription refilled, and doesn't say change your diet, doesn't say change your stress level, doesn't say anything, a red flag should go off because, like, what are you putting in your body? Like, what is that? Why don't you figure out why you have high cholesterol and fix it? And that's what they do. They say, you need magnesium or selenium, or you need zinc, or you need, Maybe it's, something with your thyroid, So they're giving you these like things that are helping strengthen your body and your immune and your cells and your T cells and, all of that, because, if there's something going on, you've clearly got some kind of, whether it's autoimmune or your T cells are attacking, whatever it is, there's something going on. So a pill and a drug is not doing you any good in the long run.
Well, I mean, I'm not defending them, but most holistic medical doctors are trained to give out prescriptions. They are not trained to find the root of the cause or the cause of the problem. Only those like holistic or integrative medicine, physicians, whether they're MDs or naturopaths or chiropractors, can really,
chiropractor.
Can really, we're trained to look for the cause, but most holistic doctors are not trained to look for the cause. They diagnose and they give you a prescription. They give you surgery dates, and like when in doubt, cut it out. I mean, that's.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I mean, I was on steroids and painkillers and water pills.
Sure. They don't know any better, and I think as we move forward, I think more holistic doctors are in tune with some of these holistic ways. I mean, when I say holistic, I don't mean it in a cliche way. I mean, you really you have to look at the whole person and look at different types of lab testing. And like not all lab testings are true. I mean, there are a lot of false negatives and false positives. So
it's so true, and that's what's so sad about our whole medical profession, right? It's like
it is. Yeah, it's a difficult process, but I think you're on the right track of training people how to eat healthier, because honestly, like you said, it really comes down to what you put in your body. I mean, you are what you eat, as they say, and it really is an important part of how you manage your own health, because
So Amie, it seems that you've already set up one misconception, that fat's bad. A lot of people, like you said, a lot of women will say, I'm eating low fat because fat is bad. What's another misconception that you seem to see in families that could hurt their health?
Oh, well, the whole low carb phase. People think carbs are terrible, and your body needs carbohydrates to function. Again, you're not eating a loaf of bread for dinner and a bagel for breakfast and this huge sandwich for lunch, but you need carbohydrates to function, or else damage is going to be done, whether it's now or in 20, 30 years. But people don't really want to listen, and they don't care. As long as they're feeling fine now, they're like, oh, I'm fine, everything's great. So
what kind of healthy carbs would you suggest?
So always whole grains, and everything, from sweet potatoes to quinoa to brown rice. I mean, there's black rice. There's so many different, whole grains out there that are great. Even like grains like there's like Bob's Red Mill has like sorghum and teff and millet, and I mean, there's a million grains that no one even knows about that are so their flavor is incredible. So it's, just to get people thinking out of the box a little bit.
So what kind of recipes would you see? Are they on your website? Some recipes using those different grains?
I do, yeah. I do tons of whole grains on my website, yes.
And some of your favorites would be?
I love quinoa. Quinoa is one of my favorites. I did like a quinoa bake. That's one of my most popular recipes on my website. And I did quinoa bites, little muffin tins, which are one of my second. Like those two recipes, still to this day, every time I go and check with the most popular, they're still on the top. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to remake them and make them in, like, a variation of them, because they're just so popular.
And the quinoa bites, because I saw your recipe, it's a really on-the-go great snack to just throw in the car, because you can eat them cold or hot. It doesn't really matter.
Exactly. Like, you just throw them in a little baggie and have them any time of the day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks.
What if you don't like quinoa? How can you kind of camouflage it to make it,
Yeah, I mean, you can always use, like, there's black rice is great, or brown rice, or wild rice. You can always, or use, like, some kind of other grain, or even flour, like almond flour, or ground almonds, coconut flour. Those are both wonderful. And I've been doing a lot of work with both of them. So that's another way. But, I mean, just adding fresh herbs is always great, like fresh mint and cilantro and, parsley. Always add some great flavor.
So, okay, here I am. I'm a mom. I just heard that, low carb is not great for you. Low fat's not good for you. And I'm sitting going, Amie, what am I supposed to do? So what's the next misconception I need to know? Is there another misconception, another one?
Well, it's not, I wouldn't think of it as what am I supposed to do, because my question to people is, why are you following those things anyway? You know, why are you listening to low fat and the low carb craze? Like, why are those your beliefs? Do you know what I mean? So, you know, really honing in with people and asking them, you know, why they're believing, whether it's the media or whatever it may be. But those are the two main ones, you know, and that your body needs enough calories to survive. I mean, I have people that are like, I can't lose weight. And I'm like, well, you're not eating enough. You know, people don't eat. They're like, oh, I haven't eaten all day. I had coffee for breakfast and I had a salad for lunch. And by 5 o'clock, they're starving and they had maybe like a piece of chicken for dinner. I'm like, your body is in starvation mode and it's holding on to everything. So you need to eat more, which sounds crazy, but your body, you know, it's not going to function right. You know, the messages aren't going to keep going around. Nothing's going to start working unless you have enough calories, enough protein, and healthy fats and whole grains, things like that.
So what are some of the things that I can take in the car that just ward off that hunger? Some quick snacks. What's your favorites?
I mean, my favorites are just nuts and dried fruit. Those are two of my favorites. I absolutely love them. I keep them everywhere I go, just nuts, seeds, and dried fruit because they're just so easy. Lara bars are really easy. A lot of people like them because they're just made from nuts and seeds. And a little bit of fruit, but that's pretty much it. Kind bars are great because they're just nuts and fruit. But other than that, you know, a lot of the bars are all additives, and it's a lot of, again, like, you know, genetically modified ingredients. So,
Corn syrup.
You know, just what's that?
Corn syrup too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a lot of GMO. A lot of GMO.
Tons of GMO.
Yeah, and then if you're allergic to, let's say, soy or dairy.
Oh, they're in everything. They're in all the bars.
That's why I hate buying energy bars because
I never do. It's terrible.
Yeah, because and those ingredients are so little, tiny little words, and you really have to, you know.
Yeah, and no one even knows what they are. They're like, "What's soy lecithin?" I'm like, "That's soy. You shouldn't be eating that."
Right.
And I think a lot of people don't even realize they have an intolerance to gluten and dairy and soy, or either or corn or eggs, and they have no idea.
Right.
They have no idea. They're just like, and I'm like. They're like, oh, whatever, I just get bloated. I'm like, okay, but that's creating, every time you eat that, that's creating inflammation in your body. So if you keep eating whatever it is for the next, you know, couple years, you know, you're just hurting yourself.
And it's not just the amount, right? I mean, if you're sensitive or intolerant or allergic,
it could be
any of those, yeah, it could be just trace amounts in something. I mean, you hear about people who, you know, who are allergic to peanuts. And, you know, I'll never forget that girl who kissed her boyfriend who had a peanut butter, you know, right, jelly sandwich like earlier that day or the day before, something like that, and she ended up dying. So somebody who's really that sensitive can get just trace amount and create havoc. So it's not really the amounts of ingredients in those energy bars, but you just have to be careful that you recognize them and just avoid them totally.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
And Amie, okay, so we talked about nuts, dried fruits. Let's say I have a child who's a picky eater. They're not going to eat nuts and they're not going to eat dried fruits. What do you suggest to that parent?
I suggest asking why your child's picky and how they got to that point. Because
good point.
You're the one that's supplying the food to your child, and if your child's picky, I'm not blaming parents, but I mean, I walked in the food store and there's kids having hissy fits and the mom hands them like a cookie, and I'm like, really?
But you know, I will say though, my kids are allergic to a lot of different things, and they were very picky because they couldn't eat a lot of things.
Well, exactly.
So
that's
they had
different.
to, they had to have a sort of a behavior modification as to like really look, you know, carefully, and then after a while, even if they could eat it, they become picky.
Yeah.
So that's difficult too.
Smoothies are great for kids. I think kids love smoothies.
I like that.
They love having fun with their food. They love like putting things together. So I'll make like a little taco bar or burrito bar or yogurt parfaits. You know, they love playing with things. Whole grain waffles. You know, pancakes. Right. Yeah, chicken fingers. You know, and like instead of using breadcrumbs, you know, ground up some almonds and cashews and pine nuts and maybe it's some ground flax seeds and chia seeds and make those as your breadcrumb topping.
That's a great idea. You know, I do
like
think
you can make fish sticks with those. It's so easy.
I think it's being creative is one of the keys instead of, you know, your child saying, no, I don't want it. Because I actually have a 15-year-old who's been picky his whole life. And if he could eat meat and potatoes every day, he'd be happy. So it is tough. But I think you're right. If you start them young being creative, and letting them kind of experiment and choose what they want, they might be more apt not to be so picky instead of just simply giving up right away. I think that's true. Karen, you want to check the web and see if there's anybody's got any questions? Website?
Sure, you guys can continue to talk while I go check.
So, Amie, what have you found to be your hardest, when you have a lot of patients, a lot of, clients, and you have a lot of clients, and what have you found the hardest thing for you to convey to your clients, like the hardest thing for them to really get?
To understand that it's not about calories. It's about the quality of food. I mean, I'm not telling people that you should eat like 10,000 calories a day, but stop counting your calories. Like, be a little bit, be active in terms of like, doing your laundry and cleaning your house. You don't need to go to the gym every day and burn 1 million calories and then, count everything. You're going to make yourself nuts. Like, it's crazy, just like bring your life down a step, bring your stress level down a step, and just think about what you can do once every week to just make your life a little simpler. And how they've interplayed with that. I mean, what have they done? That if you tell them to stop eating stop counting calories, which is hard because that's kind of a Weight Watchers message. What do they? That's part. You have to. A lot of this is media driven, and also it's all media driven, which is it's. Oh, I was please in my 20s. I was like, oh my gosh, this magazine is telling me to do this. This magazine is telling me to do that. I should do that. And now I'm like, it's sad to say, but it takes getting sick at a young age to get really smart and realize what's going on.
So on your website,
that's why I'm got the energy to help save a lot of people.
On your website, I know you have a lot of recipes. Do you have any type of blueprint that talks about something that you just talked about, like taking things more simple and not counting calories? Do you have anything like that on the website?
I do. I have a ton of resources, and my website is actually getting redone, so it's going to have a whole new look in about 2 weeks. But I have a ton of resources on the right-hand side page. It tells you how to, what's non-GMO, how to eat organic, healthy tips for kids, gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, sugar-free, how to, do all this kind of stuff.
Karen, any questions?
I have a question. How about kids who are, I have two, college kids who are not home, and they're actually on campus, they can't cook. And how about kids who are playing sports?
Sure. So I'm doing a big event for college kids next week. So
you are?
That's great.
You have to give us the link to to the event or whatever you're doing.
You're so nice. Thank you. Yeah. So everything for college kids. I mean, it could be anything from, again, dried nuts or dried fruit and nuts are amazing. But beyond that, stocking your apartment or your dorm room with whole grain English muffins and nut butter, and you have a little mini fridge to get Applegate Farms has some great organic sliced turkeys. There's organic yogurts. Different things like that they can just stash in, healthy granolas that aren't full of sugar. And then either easy things like the Kind bars and the Lara bars, things like that are really going to help them out there. And then, anything from, apples to bananas go over really well. Little packs of oatmeal are great, not instant oatmeal, but like whole grains. And then you can even buy, like frozen, like quinoa now, like organic quinoa that's frozen, and just pop it right in the microwave.
Okay. How about sports? Kids
so sports, I would definitely say.
Energy.
Yeah, no, definitely, and again, like a lot of protein there too. So I would say for sports and sunflower seed butter is wonderful because I know a lot of people can't bring nuts into sport games and things like that. So sunflower seed butter on bananas or on whole grain crackers or something like that. There's a ton of gluten-free crackers out there, like Crunchmaster crackers make some great crackers. Those are wonderful. You can put some sunflower seed butter on those. Anything like Amy's Organic makes some great different products. I mean, a lot of the products are packaged, but they make great like tomato sauces and great salsas. So I mean, those are even great on roasted vegetables, or just you want to pop some vegetables into the microwave or in your college room or into the oven, whatever it may be. Those are great to serve.
Okay, cool. I wish you can make snacks so that I can order it from you and you can ship them. Would that be a great idea, Anna?
Yes,
right?
It would. It really,
I'd love it.
It really would, especially.
Come to Manhattan and I'll cook for you.
I'm talking about you making them, packaging them, so that I can say, Amie, my son needs, a week worth of snacks or whatever, and then you can ship them to.
Yeah. Seriously, I mean, seriously, Amie, I think that is. Karen's right. I
Nobody.
think it is a business because a lot of college kids don't know what to eat. They eat junk, and the colleges really don't offer, really healthy alternatives. They're going to offer the ice cream and the other snacks. Karen's right. It's a great business. So
also, because I'm sure you've gotten this too, where they send you a little letter saying that for
Yes.
finals week you can send a fruit basket, you can send them chocolates and cookies and blah blah blah. But I mean, fruits basket. Come on. I mean, how can one kid eat? That's a lot of fruit. Because it's not going to last.
True.
It's going to go bad. So
if Amie launches her company of
I get 10%.
Yeah, we get 10%. Good snacks for students.
Yes.
You heard it here.
That's right.
That's right. Green Sisterhood.
Anyway.
Green Sisterhood launched another business with all these ideas.
Of course, with all the other things you've got going on.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, come on, who doesn't like food? Especially healthy food and healthy snacks. I mean, it's there's a need out there.
Yeah, no, there definitely is. Yeah, I'm headed to Chicago tomorrow to talk about healthy food, so I'm excited to head out there.
Have fun.
Thanks a lot to talk about. Amie, thank you so much for coming
Thanks
on.
for having me. Hopefully I'll see you guys soon.
Yes, yeah, we hope so too. And everybody, next week we have Mike from CJ. Did I say that right? CJHE?
CHEJ.
Okay, thanks, Karen. Dyslexia strikes again, and we're going to be talking about.
I think Center for Health Center for Health Environmental Justice.
Yay. And tell them what we're going to be talking about, Karen.
We're going to be talking about back to school. There's my doggie. We're going to be talking about back to school and how to green back to school. I know it's already back to school. It's so
I know
weird.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
So everybody, thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, if you watch this later, we will make sure that Amie sees the questions and she'll answer anything that you have. And everybody, Amie has a website. It's called The Healthy Apple. She is a personal chef. So if you're in the Manhattan area or New Jersey area, give Amie a ring. And everybody, thank you again for watching. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you again next week, 2 p.m. East Coast time. And thanks again for watching.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Amie.